Welcome to the Speak Your Piece podcast. My name is Biggie Ian McNaughton here, being joined once again by SYP creator Scott. Scott, what's going on?
Oh, it's another podcast. It's my third one, 4 days. It feels like I've been on a lot recently, but no, it's been good. Good to be back on the show, and we're gonna talk some hockey, I think, today.
It's gonna be a great show.
Great pod.
This is gonna be an NHL focused podcast. We're recording this Sunday night on the ferry, coming back over from the island. We just finished up our SYP Victoria Vancouver Island Takeover. Really good stuff. Again, thank you to everybody who helped out, was a part of that. That was awesome. Do you have a highlight from the weekend itself and being over in Victoria?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Wow. I think I went.
So should we just recap, kind of give a quick recap of what our weekend was like?
Yeah, sure.
So pretty much you came over Thursday night to my place.
Yep.
Stayed over. We got up
early
7:30. Friday morning, caught the 10 a.m. boat. Got to Victoria by 12:30. Dropped you off downtown. Pretty much screwed around. I saw my brother.
You saw your brother, yeah, Neil.
Pretty much. Then at least I partied Friday night.
You partied hard Friday night. I did a little bit too. Had some drinks, played some cards. Tried some different drinks this weekend for sure. Yeah, it was a good weekend.
What drinks did you try?
Well, so Friday I had the Stanley Park Brewing.
Ooh.
Yeah, really good. I think it was a Sunset Peach Wheat Ale. It was really good. And then this Sunday. Now we're recording this on Sunday night. Sunday morning had some what's called Shaft. It's a Victoria local drink. Apparently, if you're not from Vic, you don't know about it. You don't know how to make it.
Never heard of it.
But it's really good. So if you're ever in Victoria, ask for a Shaft, and they'll.
Don't go around asking that anywhere.
No, you go to a bar and ask for a Shaft, and you'll get in the morning you'll get a good Shaft. It's nice.
So Saturday then, I got up early Saturday to watch F1 Sprint qualifying. We didn't meet up until noon downtown.
Well, I went to Redfish Blue. Well, we met up at Redfish Bluefish.
Yes, that's where we met up. Did
my Big Eats, which was really good.
Really good place.
Mm-hmm.
We both ate brunch an hour and a half beforehand, so that was also good. Basically just screwed around downtown and then worked our way back to watch fights and basketball on Saturday night.
Yeah. Ian, you bought cigars.
I bought cigars. That was my thank you gift to Kanta and Ian. So Ian is probably smoking one right now as we speak.
He's probably sad that we left. So
I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Saturday night, then we played Trivial Pursuit most of Saturday as well.
We did. That's good. Yeah, Ian pulled his groin.
I pulled my groin. That also happened. Jaywalking. I mean, it didn't happen. I would never jaywalk because that's illegal, but happened when I was jaywalking.
Sure.
We played Trivial Pursuit.
Watched some fights. Watched
some basketball. Had a couple more drinks on Saturday, but was not really.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was more low key. It wasn't really the mood. Friday was Ian's big party, and I partied a bit too. Had some.
I was fucked on Friday.
I wasn't there. I wish I was there. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, you should have been there to see just how messed up I was, because I think I had.
I've seen you fucked up before. There's been a few times you were kind of sauced, but.
The best part, I don't know what it is with me, is that I don't chundy. I'm good at not chundying. And now that I've said that out loud and I made that public on a podcast, I'm probably going to chundy next time.
You're due for one.
I'm due, yeah. But I don't chundy, which is good.
That is good. That's impressive. Hey, cheers to that. Cheers to not throwing up from alcohol.
Kind of want a beer now. No. And then Saturday, you walked from Henderson to Hillside Mall?
Yeah, it took me 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay.
That's about 3 kilometer walk.
Yeah, all right. And then you got picked up, went back to your cousin's.
Yep.
We met up again today at noon again. 12:30?
Yeah, it was about noon. Yeah, it was about noon. No, yeah, noon.
Noon?
Yeah, noon.
Noon. I did 2 Starbucks runs this morning.
2?
2.
Why 2?
I went to go get stuff for myself, and then I went to go get stuff for Tay and Kanta, because Tay texted me literally as I got in the door.
Of course.
You want to go get Starbucks? Tay was nice enough to give me a cake pop for the effort of taking him to the Starbucks.
I feel like that's a good trade-off, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good, gas money for food. It's a great trade.
Birthday cake pop, by the way.
Oh, that's the best one.
I think it was all gone by the time I got back on the road again.
Oh, probably.
So that was two Starbucks ones. Watched a bit of the F1 race this morning. I did anyways. We met up at noon. We basically have been screwing around getting back from Victoria to Nanaimo.
Pretty much.
You got to see the Malahat.
Yeah, I've only driven the Malahat once, and I might have been like half asleep, or it was a pitch black or whatever it might have been. But yeah, it was cool. It's cool. Some dope views. It's a good drive. It's no Sea to Sky Highway, but it's nice.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite part? I guess seeing your cousins was probably a nice part. Seeing the boys was cool.
Yeah. It was great. Overall, it was a really good trip. My holiday kind of started Thursday. Went on my dad's a pilot, and went on a helicopter flight with him, and so that was good. But yeah, really good seeing my cousin. Really good seeing some SYP fans. I've only hung out with Ian and Akanta on several occasions, and
you've hung out with them more than I have.
Well, I've played soccer with them, but I didn't hang out with them. But
I totally forgot what my highlight of the weekend was.
And what was it?
And that was shooting the game winner over Ian in our 2v2 game, where
that's true. Team Squamish did beat Team Whisper.
Team Squamish, but it was kind of like Jordan Flew game, or no, more like Paul Pierce wheelchair game.
That's better. Yeah,
where stung by a bee when we were playing football. Left, pulled groin as well. Left, nursed the bee sting. The groin has been sore all weekend, so gotta rest that when I get home. But then came back. We played basketball. Yeah. First to 8. I hit the game winner. Not quite in Ian Davidson's face, but like.
No. He gave you too much respect.
Yeah, he gave me too much. It was kind of like Dame Paul George, right? That's kind of where it was. Yeah, it wasn't as far back, but it was basically that much like respect.
Yeah, fair enough. Dame, hey, you gotta respect Dame. He's a good shooter.
So pretty much that, I think, was my highlight of the weekend.
There you go.
So now I'm a better basketball player than Ian Davidson, and now I've said that on the podcast, so it's true.
I guess.
Anyways, so that was Victoria. That was our SYP Victoria Vancouver Island Takeover. Really fun. I'm really glad we got the opportunity to do this. We got to see some fans, meet some new people. Got some new follows over the weekend too. So we're 15 away from 500.
Wow.
We are moving up in the world.
Move up, or fans, go get your friends to follow Speak Your Piece.
We got to do like a special shout out or something. We got to do some sort of contest for that. We'll figure that out. So that was Victoria. That was Vancouver Island this past weekend. We're going to talk some hockey because we missed a lot of hockey. I mean, we talked a little bit about it on Friday when we were coming over here.
Yeah, a little bit.
We can talk about it tonight.
Well, this is a big week for several reasons. Well, first off, Wednesday night is the Seattle Kraken Expansion Draft, which is what are going to be our main focus today. Ian and I have both drafted up Seattle Kraken rosters since the expansion lists were released today, so we did some homework on our
teams.
On our teams, and we also did some, in between stuff. It's been good.
I am excited to see how this goes. So we got, big weekend of pods. We got 2 coming out this week. We have this one and another one that we did. We did our Olympic preview. So that's gonna be really cool. Be sure to check out that one. We might do an NHL draft pod as well with Josh Bell. Hopefully we can get him back on the pod, maybe. So yeah, big week of content coming up. So we'll discuss trades and then expansion. Okay. So let's talk about the NHL trades that happened this past weekend. The roster freeze was today or Saturday?
It was Saturday night.
Saturday night. Okay. Saturday night at 11:59 p.m. Roster freeze. All rosters are frozen until Thursday after the expansion draft. What trade do you want to start with first?
Well, I'm going to go in order. And I'll run through these quickly. Chronological order from the latest trade, and we'll go back in time.
Sure.
No particular order. So, Andrew Ladd is sent from the Islanders to the Arizona Coyotes, along with a 2021 second round pick, a conditional 2022 second round pick, and a conditional 2023 third round pick. And in return, the Islanders receive nothing.
Future considerations.
Cap space.
Yes. No word on the conditions of the pick either. I don't
know. Nothing for sure. Nothing set in stone yet. But basically, this is just a salary dump for the Islanders.
Okay.
Are they loading up to go after a highly sought after free agent? We'll find out. Another trade. New York Rangers send Brett Howden to the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for Nick DeSimone. It's a one for one kind of a wash.
Yeah,
trade.
I'm surprised. I think SYP creator Rav sent me some sort of meme of like, how the hell do you get assets for Brett Howden?
They got an asset somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
Let's go to the next one.
Yes.
Barclay Goodrow sent from Tampa Bay, setting up champion Tampa Bay,
yes,
to the New York Rangers in exchange for a 2022 7th-round pick. This, to me, screams salary cap space dump.
I think this was also the Rangers' need. Well, they didn't protect anybody, but the Rangers, Lightning weren't going to sign Goudreau anyways.
No,
so
he's going to be, for sure.
They can just get something back in return, and they know they're not going to get a lot back for Goudreau.
Yep. Next trade. This is a big one. Aiden Hill, goaltender for the Arizona Coyotes, is sent to the San Jose Sharks in exchange for a 2022 2nd-round pick and goaltender Josef Coronar. Ian, thoughts on this one? You're an Aiden Hill guy.
I am an Aiden Hill guy. I'm happy for the San Jose because they finally have a goalie who's not Martin Jones or Devin Dubnyk, and I'm actually kind of a Dubnyk guy, but he didn't really do well in San Jose. I think it's a fine move if you're Arizona, or fine move for Arizona and San Jose, to be honest.
Okay.
Just because of the fact Arizona was probably going to lose Hill in the expansion draft. I think the Coyotes' best asset was Hill coming into the expansion draft, so at least you get a goalie you can protect.
True.
Coronar.
No, Coronar. I think Kemper.
Well, Kemper, I guess, is who they're protecting now, or is he a free? Are they both free agents?
I think they're protecting Kemper.
Okay.
Anyways,
good. I think it's a good trade. I think it's fair. I think it makes sense.
Yep.
Give each guy a fresh start, and maybe Aiden Hill can be the full-time
that 2nd-round pick could be really good. You never
know. That is kind of the we'll wait and see on that one.
We'll wait and see on that one. Vancouver acquires forward Jason Dickinson in exchange for a 3rd-round pick from the Dallas Stars.
Go ahead on that. I mean, I think it's good for the Canucks. Gives them a solid middle 6 forward that they've kind of been craving. Seems like they have a bunch of like top 6 forwards, and they have a bunch of 4th-line forwards. They have no one in the middle, and I think Dickinson fills a good role there. I don't know if he does some penalty kill minutes.
I think he does.
I'm sure he can.
He does.
He's their 3rd-line center. Like that should be his role. 3rd-line center. I agree with that. Penalty kill, 3rd-line center.
Yep.
Take a few faces. Like, if he's actually getting top 6 minutes, then you're concerned. But ideally, your role for him...
He'll be middle 6. He'll play with
ideally, you're putting him on the 3rd line. And yeah.
I agree. This is probably arguably the biggest trade of the this little 3-day kind of frenzy. So just hold on for this. I'm gonna explain all this one, and then we'll talk about it after. So, Vegas sends Cody Glass to the Nashville Predators in exchange for Nolan Patrick. But get this, before that happened, Philadelphia sent Philippe Myers and Nolan Patrick to the Predators in exchange for Ryan Ellis. So, let me rephrase that better. Ryan Ellis is on the Flyers.
Yes.
Nolan Patrick is on the Golden Knights.
Yes.
Philippe Myers and Cody Glass are now on the Nashville Predators. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
What are your thoughts on this one?
I think everybody wins in a way.
In a way, yeah, I think so too.
Like, I think it makes sense for everybody who's involved.
I agree.
So Philly wins because they have the best player in the trade.
Yep, definitely.
Nashville wins because they still get another quality defenseman, and they add another good forward.
Yeah.
In Cody Glass.
Good young forward. Don't forget about that.
Good young forward who they don't have to protect. He's exempt in the expansion draft.
Yep.
And then Vegas wins because Nolan Patrick gets a new change. He gets a fresh start, and he could even work his way up to 2nd lines. I mean, Chandler Stevenson, I guess that's...
Well, he's not a bona fide number 1 center.
No, but there's no one number... Like, I guess that was Vegas' whole issue, was lack of centers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because you had William Karlsson, you had Chandler Stevenson.
Yep.
Now you're throwing Nolan Patrick in the mix, who I don't know if he's going to be a number one center one day, but at least
middle six center.
Middle six center, and I think that's a great deal for Vegas. Cody Glass, you're kind of disappointed that you have to trade him, I guess, in a way, but
casualty for what you're kind of receiving, and I think also for Vegas it's kind of a salary dump. Gives him some space to be able to make some moves on a Tarasenko, on a
Jack Eichel.
Yeah, maybe. You never know.
You have any other thoughts on the deal, quickly?
No, you summed it up pretty well.
All right.
Let's go to the Maple Leafs acquire for Jared McCann in exchange for Philip Hollander and a 2023 7th-round pick.
So Hollander was a Penguin in the Kapanen trade. He was a part of the Kapanen trade last year.
That's right.
So pretty much he goes back. Dangle did a whole video on like what actually happened with the Kapanen trade and the McCann trade is now.
Right.
Which is essentially the Leafs getting a first-round pick, Jared McCann, for like Kapanen and like a bunch of other guys. But I'll be honest, this is a really great move for Toronto.
Oh yeah.
So long as McCann isn't the guy that's being
taken by the Kraken.
Like you're doing this trade assuming that, and maybe Dubas has a side deal that we don't know about.
Most likely knowing Kyle Dubas. But you're doing this trade because you think Alex Kerfoot is the guy that's being taken. Because McCann is essentially replacing Kerfoot. Yeah,
more or less.
I would say so. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So I think it's a great deal for Toronto. You get Seattle taking Kerfoot. I don't know what you like. These trades are so random. I have no idea what you give up to make a side deal like this. But you're giving up a draft pick or two so that they take Kerfoot instead of Travis Dermott.
Yep.
Hall.
Hall is protected.
Was Hall protected?
Justin Hall's protected. Yeah, the Leafs. I think the thing with why this trade was made is because the Leafs they protected 4 defensemen and 4 forwards. My guess is if they went 7-3-1, Justin Hall would be exposed and he would be taken by the Kraken without a doubt. Okay. But because they went 4-4-4, Tavares, Nylander, Matthews, Marner are obviously protected, and then that exposes Kerfoot.
So I'm going through my notes right now to see who's exposed. Kerfoot, McCann, Simmons, Engvall, Anderson, Dermott.
There you go. It'll be either Dermott, McCann, or Kerfoot. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be Kerfoot going. So McCann stays with the Leafs, which makes this a great trade for the Leafs.
Yes.
Let's go to your Wings. Made a trade actually.
Yeah.
It did. Nick Leddy is sent from the Islanders to Detroit in exchange for Richard Panik and a 2021 2nd-round pick.
So the other thing that's not mentioned is that the Red Wings retained half of Panik's salary. So the Islanders are now getting him instead of at like 2.6 or 2.75 or whatever he was making before. It's now 1.3.
Okay.
Personally, I think Nick Leddy is a fine defenseman.
Yes.
I think he's kind of been a little bit overblown because of the fact that he's been in the Islander system and they have a really good defensive system.
Oh, do they ever?
I don't think he's worth giving up a 2nd-round pick for. I don't know if I would give up. I think you get more for a 2nd-round pick and half a Panik salary than Nick Leddy. However, I have had people tell me that Leddy might be a trade deadline casualty as well next year.
I think so.
So pretty much, because if Detroit retains half of Leddy's contract, then you're getting a whole. You could get more than whatever Detroit gave up to get Leddy. More than a 2nd-round pick and half of Panik's contract.
Right.
It's a fun. I think it's like a C+ deal for me.
Okay.
Now it might grade higher if Yzerman decides to trade Leddy at the deadline and acquire more assets.
Which he might.
He might. The deal right now, as it is,
C+.
It's a C+ deal for me. As a Red Wings fan, I think it's a C+ deal.
Okay. This one, speaking of, this might be a trade value, maybe it should. New Jersey receives Ryan Graves from the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for Mikhail Maltsev and a 2021 2nd-round pick. A lot of 2nd-round picks going around this year.
I think it's a fine deal.
This is a salary dump for the Avalanche and also a casualty of the expansion draft.
Yes, because they were going to lose Graves at the expansion draft.
Oh, 100%. They're still going to lose a good player, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to, instead of being a defenseman, at least they get some assets for Ryan Graves versus giving him up in the expansion draft. Now the Avalanche are going to lose one of Comfer or
Donskoy
maybe, yeah. A forward, but it
or
won't be a defenseman.
or Landeskog.
We'll get into that later.
Okay.
Um,
I think it's a fine trade for both teams. I think it makes sense for both teams.
There you go. There's 2 more trades. The Edmonton, this is a couple days ago now. Duncan Keith and Tim Soderlund are sent from Chicago to the Edmonton Oilers.
We talked about that trade.
We did. In exchange for Caleb Jones' 3-round pick. I think it's a good trade for the Oilers, but
I don't
think so. That's a summary there. There's one we didn't talk about that was well before any of this shit happened.
Yes.
Victor Arvidsson is sent from Nashville to Los Angeles in exchange for a 2021 second-round pick and a 2022 third-round pick.
That seems to be the going rate for a lot of these, players that if you're trying to either, send, Graves got traded for a second-round pick. Arvidsson, Adin Hill
for a second-round pick and another prospect. This trade's really interesting to me. Arvidsson was a fan favorite and a teammate favorite in Nashville. I know a lot of his teammates aren't thrilled about this one. Let me tell you that.
Was Philip Forsberg the one who did the thumbs down on his IG story?
Forsberg is one of them. I know Matt Duchene, Calle Yarncroke, I think Roman Josi were also pretty vocal about their skepticism of this trade. Arvidsson was beloved in the community, and he was a big fan favorite in Nashville. I think this is a clear issue with why the Kraken and what they've done. Basically, it's that the Predators only protect 3 forwards.
Yeah, the Predators now protect 5
defensemen, 3 forwards.
5 defensemen, 3 forwards.
3 forwards,
yes.
And again, Arvidsson was obviously was not going to be one of those forwards, and the Predators have exposed Duchene and Johansson, 2 of their top centers. So it's very interesting to see what's going to happen there in Nashville. But again, I don't like this trade if I'm Nashville. But again, it's better than giving it a fan favorite up in an expansion draft. At least you get some sort of assets for him.
Well, people were saying that Nashville should have unloaded at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. They actually added Eric Branson at the deadline. And then they went for they made the playoffs.
They did make the playoffs, and that's my.
So I guess so in the end, I guess it's kind of okay. I guess.
Yeah.
LA is gonna be LA is gonna make the playoffs next year. I think.
You think so? It's a hot take.
I think I said it on.
It's a really hot take.
Left Side Heavy last year. I think they were my dark horse team.
This year.
Last year I said they were my team to watch as potential
Right.
Depending on how fast the rebuild goes. And the rebuild's going really well because now you get Victor Arvidsson into the mix.
True. He'll be a good veteran piece on that team.
Yeah, man.
That's trades. Let's talk about Kraken.
All right, so let's do the Seattle Expansion Draft mock draft. The SYP Seattle mock draft.
Yep.
So, basically we went through every team earlier today on Cap Friendly. I can tell you who's exposed from each team. We each made a pick for every team. We're going to share with I don't know what his roster looks like. He doesn't know we have an idea.
I have an idea.
But we don't know what each other's rosters look like completely.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to have some real hot takes that you're probably not going to like.
I will be shocked by this.
We'll just go from alphabetical.
Sure. Start with the best team in the world.
I don't see the Detroit Red Wings first, but I guess we'll talk about some Ducks.
Yeah.
Anaheim. Players exposed include Ryan Getzlaf, Adam Henrique, Kevin Shattenkirk, Hayden Fleury, Sonny Milano, Derek Grant.
There's a bunch of players.
Who do you have?
I have Jacob Larson going to the Kraken.
Okay.
I think he will be a key asset, and he's young. Young defenseman, up and coming. He's young. He's got some life in him. He'll be a solid player. I think he might not be in their top 4, but he'll be top 6 or a depth guy.
I went with Hayden Fleury, which I think for you is kind of like the best case scenario as a guy who probably have the least attachment to.
No, I like Fleury.
You do like Fleury? Okay.
I would rather give it to Shattenkirk.
Okay.
But
that's fair. You like the Shattenkirk deal, but that's totally fine. So we both picked defenseman from Anaheim.
Yep.
Arizona. Players exposed include Goligoski, Derek Brassard, Labushkin.
Okay.
Christian Fisher.
Okay.
Pitlick.
Yep.
Tyler Steenbergen.
Oh, okay. He won't go. I have Christian Fisher going.
I also have Christian Fisher.
Oh, there you go.
So
great minds think alike.
Yes, exactly. Young forward. He's a UFA, I think, or RFA next year.
Yep, that sounds right.
So he's on a fairly affordable deal. You got another year, and you got rights. You're fine with.
He'll be a solid depth forward. He might be one of those guys that just gets taken just for the sake of it. Kind of like Clayton Stoner last year with Anaheim. He was just taken for the sake of it, and the Golden Knights ended up getting Shea Theodore out of that deal.
Yes.
Who's next?
Boston. Players exposed include Tuukka Rask, Taylor Hall, David Krejci, Chris Wagner, Jeremy Lauzon, and Connor Clifton. I'll let you go first.
I have Lauzon.
I have Lauzon.
Yeah, there you go. Great minds think alike. Hall and Krejci are very interesting pieces, but they're both UFAs, which makes that very interesting. I think the longer it goes on, the more likely one or both will get signed. I think Hall more likely than Krejci to get signed, but again, we'll see what happens.
I'm kind of skeptical that Seattle signs Hall.
Seattle, yeah. Boston will sign him.
But Boston, I think he'll probably go for a below market deal with Boston. That is my guess with Taylor.
I think so. I think he likes Boston. I think he's a good fit. First of all,
he did really well in the second half.
He did ever. Buffalo.
Exposed includes Jeff Skinner, Kyle Okposo, Cody Eakin,
okay,
Colin Miller, Dustin Tokarski, former Spokane Chief, Dustin Tokarski. I'm going to go with Cody Eakin.
Interesting, okay.
As my pick.
Okay.
Little pricey at just over $2 million for one more year. I think you can revitalize Cody Eakin a little bit if you're Seattle.
He was also taken by the Golden Knights, wasn't he?
Yes, in the last expansion draft. He's available again. This is also a bit of a dub homer pick, WHL homer pick. I'm going to go with Cody Eakin. He's my pick.
I said Drake Caggiula.
That's a good pick.
I like Caggiula. He's, I think, he kind of flies under the radar a little bit.
He is a UFA, so you also have to.
He is, but you're not going to sign him for much. It's not going to be more than $2 million, I think. So
the other guy that was interesting, I think, was
Tobias Reeder.
Yeah, Reeder.
Reeder. Yeah, we'll see. Carolina's next, right? No.
Calgary,
right.
Exposed from the Flames includes Mark Giordano.
That's a big piece.
Milan Lucic.
Yep.
Matthew Phillips.
Yep.
Former Everett Silvertip Byron Fraze. Brett Ritchie.
Okay.
Oliver Shillington.
Yep.
And Tyler Parsons.
And Josh Levo, who is actually my pick for this one. This is going to be another kind of nothing pick.
You have to sign him.
You got to sign him to.
Oh, captain speaking on the boat.
Oh.
Queen of Cowichan. Hell yeah.
I guess we have more time to pod people.
We're behind 26 minutes on the boat, so that's really cool.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Well, we still got a bunch of teams to go through on this pod. So
Calgary, you went with?
I went with Josh Levo.
Josh Levo? Okay. I went with Shillington.
You did. I was in between those two guys, but I think Shillington's a good piece.
You can use him as a bottom depth defenseman, or you can put him in your AHL team, I think, too, and use him as a call-up.
Well, Shillington was he was depth for Calgary, so I think he'd play similar, if not the exact same role with the Kraken.
I'll be honest, Matthew Phillips intrigued me because he's a guy I think the Calgary fans like the people of Calgary like.
Yeah. True.
I was afraid to touch Giordano for a year at just over $6 million.
But he might be like a Derek England, that kind of type of veteran leadership.
He could.
Right? He could be, right?
I wouldn't take Giordano. Not saying Seattle wouldn't, but and I'm not touching Milan Lucic.
Nope, neither am I.
Carolina, the Hurricanes. Exposed from the Hurricanes include Nito Niederreiter, Jake Bean, Jake Gardner, Morgan Geekie, Dylan Wells, Brock McGinn, Jordan Martinook, Cedric Paquette.
It's a lot of names to like there.
A lot of names to like. You do have to sign some of these guys, but
I'm taking Jake Bean.
Take Jake Bean, okay.
Yeah. Jake Bean played juniors. He was Noah Jolson's D partner in 2018, the World Juniors.
Yes, he was.
Jake Bean, great puck mover. There was talk it'd be either him or Fleury going to the Ducks in that trade with
Hakanpää.
Yeah. Yes, in that same type of move. But I like Bean. He's always been a good piece. Unfortunately, Carolina's got way too many good defensemen, and he's going to be a casualty of it. So, Bean to the Kraken. Gets him back to Western Canada.
Originally I was gonna go with Morgan Geekie. Changed that pick.
Oh, we did?
Because I went with Jake Bean as well.
Ah, there you go. Good man.
I like Geekie. He's a cool player.
Yeah.
He is 22 too.
Cool name.
There's a lot to like about Geekie.
Yep.
I'm taking Jake Bean just because of all the things you said. Quality defenseman, puck mover. He's in a loaded group in Carolina. I don't know if he's going to get a great opportunity.
No, but I think he might even play top 4 here in Seattle.
Yes.
He might.
All right. Chicago. Exposed from Chicago includes Adam Gaudette, Malcolm Subban.
That's right.
Brett Connolly, Ryan Carpenter, Calvin DeHaan, and Colin Delia.
Malcolm Subban is my pick here. That's funny. He was also touted as the backup in the last expansion draft with the Golden Knights. I don't think he'll be the backup. He'll be like a top AHL goalie.
Third goalie.
Yeah, there's another guy that I know will be the backup based on my roster here, but we'll see how that goes. I'm
interested to see if this is just setting up for
This is setting up for later on. You'll see. Subban's going to be the goalie taken because I think the Kraken need to take at least 4 goalies, so Subban's going to be one of them.
At least 3 goalies.
At least 3 goalies, so Subban will be one of them.
My pick is Adam Gaudette.
Okay.
Because he is a great Twitch streamer.
And that's why you like him.
That's why I like him.
Enough said.
I think, again, you can use him. Same sort of thing we talked about with... Who else did we talk about earlier on? Jason Dickinson with the Canucks, where basically that's the same role Gaudette was playing.
Yeah.
That I think he can play for Seattle.
I like it.
Colorado. Exposed. Not a whole lot exposed here with Colorado. I have Landeskog, Brandon Saad.
Not a lot. Are you kidding? That's
players. There's not a lot of players compared to other teams. Jonas Donskoy, JT Compter.
I took Comfer. But yeah, I think Landeskog's gonna get signed or he's gonna get traded. So there's gonna be some sort of deal with him. We didn't mention Dougie Hamilton, but similar with his situation as well. Comfer's a great 2-way forward. I have him in my bottom 6. But he could play middle 6. He could even play on the first line. He's very versatile and is a key part, not a key part of Colorado team, but he's an effective player on the Avalanche. And I'm surprised the Avs didn't go further. But anyways, Comfer's my pick.
I was gonna say Dougie Hamilton would have been probably my selection for Carolina if I could afford it. But instead, I went with a pricey guy in Gabriel Landeskog.
Oh, you did.
Avalanche.
Okay.
Again, I have no reason to suggest that Landeskog will sign with Seattle.
Right.
I think, again, for all intents and purposes, I think he will be back to Colorado on a below-market deal like we talked about with Taylor Hall.
Yep.
But I'm at least making a run to make him my top left winger. If
he'd be the captain of the Kraken too, probably.
Possibly.
Gabriel
Landeskog is my pick. You went with Comfer. Columbus. Again, not a lot exposed from Columbus.
I think this is a pretty obvious pick.
It's a pretty obvious pick. Yeah, Max Domi, Kevin Stunlin, Dean Kukin.
Max Domi's going to go.
Max Domi.
Yeah, I have him as my second line center. I think I said he needs a fresh start when he left Montreal and left Arizona, but I think this is going to be a time where he's going to kind of step up. I wouldn't say he's got like this William Karlsson fight, but maybe like Riley Smith. The guy that was pretty good and played on some decent teams, but now he's going to be like kind of one of the guys.
I think Domi, will also do well in Seattle because I think for the fans, that's a hockey name that they recognize. Like the hockey fans recognize the last name Domi, and we can get behind him.
And he'll be likable. I've liked Domi since the juniors. He's been terrific.
One of the nicest guys, great personality.
Oh yeah.
No doubt about that. Can't say enough about him.
Yeah.
Dallas.
Ooh. Ben Bishop's available.
Ben Bishop is available. Jamie Alexiak is available. Andrei Sekera is available. Blake Como is available. Andrew Cogliano is available. I also put down, what's his name? Julius Honka, just because I like his name. I like Honka's.
Yeah, he was a first-round pick, too.
He was.
I'm just remembering who I took.
I'll tell you who I took. I took Andrei Sekera.
You did? Interesting. Okay.
I took him as my defenseman from Dallas.
You're gonna be interested in my pick. Yes. Joel Hanley, defenseman.
Fair enough.
Is my pick. Dallas didn't have a whole lot of intriguing prospects that I could afford. And I think Hanley was the best fit.
He's 30 years old.
I know, but he played a good couple games last year, so you never know.
Fair enough. He could be like the Shillington, essentially.
Yeah.
Like that I picked.
That you had, yeah.
He can serve that same role.
That's kind of what I had him as.
My team is next. Well, my favorite team is next.
The Wings.
The Wings. Troy Stecher is available. Vladimir Nemestikov is available. The wrong Svechnikov, Evgeny Svechnikov, is available.
I'd love to hear who you're going to pick.
Dennis Cholowski is available. You could also sign Jonathan Bernier if you like.
You could, yeah.
Do you want me to go first?
You go first.
I think it's an obvious pick.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's Troy Stecher.
Yeah, of course. You have to. You have to. I think he'll like playing in Seattle too because it's close to home.
He's a right defenseman.
He is a right shot, yeah.
With a $1.7 million cap hit next year.
He also had a great World Championship.
He was arguably Detroit's best defenseman at some points last year.
Many points last year, yeah. And like I said, he had a good World Championship. He played with potential #1 pick Owen Power.
Now, this is kind of like, we'll talk about Toronto later on.
Yeah.
We talked about them earlier. I feel like this is where there's a side deal happening between Yzerman and Francis. Because I can't imagine Yzerman would be the guy
to give up a right shot young defenseman like Stecher.
And he signed them last year.
True.
Like, he's an Yzerman signing.
This is true,
I can't imagine that Yzerman would give him up this easily. I would definitely call into question if he gave up Stecher this season.
Yeah, well, maybe he's pinched, maybe he just can't, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I have Stecher, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. The Edmonton Oilers.
Ooh.
Available from the Edmonton Oilers, you could take James Neal, Adam Larson, Oscar Klefbom, Mikko Koskinen, Kyle Turris.
Some notable players. I took Devin Shore.
Jujhar Kahari.
Jujhar Khaira.
Jujhar Khaira. I can never say his name right.
Devin Shore is my pick from the Oilers. He'll be a depth forward. You'll figure out a role for him. Well, yeah. Let me get back to you on that one. But Devin Shore is going to go. I think Klefbom. The Oilers figure out some way to keep Klefbom and Larson.
I would call into question the health of those guys. I don't know if they're
especially Klefbom. Larson, no. Klefbom, yeah.
My pick is Dominic Cahoon.
Ooh, he's exposed?
He's exposed.
Wow.
I think he's a free agent though, so you have to sign him. Left winger. Quality player. I don't know it didn't seem like he was all there in Edmonton this year though. For whatever reason. I mean, maybe it's the COVID season, maybe it's just a weird year and he didn't do well with all that.
Yeah.
I'm giving Cahoon another chance in Seattle.
Okay.
That's my pick from the Oilers. And you went with
I went with Devin Shore.
Devin Shore.
Yep.
Florida Panthers next. Basically, I don't think it's an obvious choice from Florida, but I'm interested to see who you have from the Panthers. I'll just say expose Chris Drieger, Frank Vetrano, Noel Acciari, Lucas Wallmark, Anton Stroman, Radko Gudas, former Everett Silvertip.
Yeah, true. There were two other guys that were exposed that were notable: Alex Wenberg and Brandon Montour. Yes. A lot of Florida Panthers played their way into making or giving tough decisions for Florida's GM here, which it's very interesting. I have Chris Drieger going to the Seattle Kraken. Bobrovsky's the guy. Drieger is very good in Florida this year, but Bob's the guy. So Drieger is
kind of committed to Bob. You can't really.
You have to protect him.
You have to because he's got a deal.
Definitely some intriguing pieces in Wenberg and Montour, who had really good seasons, by the way, on a Florida team that did finish second place?
Second place in their division.
There you go.
I also went with Drieger. I think there's a world, I think, on my team where he could be the third goalie. I doubt it, but he could be. You also have to sign Drieger, and I don't know what the price would be to sign him.
Especially after the year,
You're signing him after a contract year, which is not always the best thing.
It's really not
for teams. True. But for Florida, I feel like Drieger is your best pick.
I would agree with that.
LA Kings. Exposed from the LA Kings include Jonathan Quick, Brandon Lemieux, Austin Wagner, Blake Lizotte, Carl Grundstrom, Oli Mata, Christian Wolanin, and Curtis McDermott.
Curtis McDermott, who is a one tough bugger.
Yes.
Blake Lizotte is my pick here, and the reason why I have Lizotte going is kind of fill out some depth kind of on the bottom six of the Kraken here, and I think in LA's got some interesting pieces both on defense and forward. I was really leaning to Oli Mata here for a long time, and I was just like, you know what? there are way too many left shot defensemen on this team, and I figured he's kind of expensive and not that good. So let's take Lizotte, good cap hit, solid middle six guy in LA. He'll be bottom six on the Kraken.
I have Lizotte.
You do? Okay.
It's same sort of thing. Listen, I don't see LA. I don't see Seattle taking quick from LA.
No, neither do I.
I don't know.
There's better goalies available.
There's better goalies available. They might make a deal with LA where if there's somebody that they really want, if the Kings want to take, they might do like, here, take quick. We'll give you something else. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Cal Peterson's back there, so he's a quality goalie. He's probably the starter for them next year.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But Lizotte is my pick as well. I think he's a good, again, bottom six forward, center. Can take face-offs. Could probably do some dirty work on the penalty kill for you if you needed to.
Yep.
Blake Lizotte is my pick. Minnesota Wild. I don't know if it's quite obvious because the Wild made the buyouts with Parise and Suter, making it a little bit difficult, I think.
Yeah, no kidding.
But basically exposed, you have...
there's a lot of players exposed.
Kaapo Kakkonen?
Yep, Konkin the goalie, yeah.
Goalie. Nick Bukestad is the forward. Victor Rask is another forward.
Yep.
And Carson Soucy is one of the defensemen available.
I took Konkin.
Okay.
I think he's going to be another guy that he might get picked up by the Kraken and then get sent somewhere else. Yeah, Konkin is a good goalie, and I have him as my third goalie here. And that he's not a third goalie. He's at least a backup, if not a starter, on some teams.
So your goalie situation right now is Drieger, Kakkonen, and
Subban right now with a team coming up that might be intriguing. Yes. But we'll get to that later.
My pick is Carson Soucy on defense. I don't know if he's a right shot defenseman or not, but he's a fine.
Carson Soucy lefty.
He's a lefty. Fine defenseman. Probably don't want him on your top line, but if you can get him on your second line, maybe third line, I think he's a good fit.
He's a depth guy. Definitely a depth guy.
I think he got a year left, so even if it doesn't work out with him, you can just part ways after a year from now.
Yep.
Wipe it off and call it good.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle might take 4 goalies, and it might go with Kakkonen.
I think they might take 4 anyways, just for the sake of taking 4 goalies.
Kakkonen's the best player, I think, available. I shouldn't say that. Not best player, best potential player for Seattle to take from Minnesota.
I agree with that. I'd say Rask is the best player, but Kakkonen's got the most room to grow and the high ceiling.
The Montreal Canadiens, who are a really weird team. Fascinating team, the Habs are.
I think this might be the story of the draft, depending on what happens.
Potential players to take include Jonathan Drouin, Paul Byron, Shea Weber, Brett Kulak, Cale Fleury, Carey Price.
I have Carey Price as my starter of the Seattle Kraken. Yes, I do, and I could be looking really bad here in a couple days, or I could be looking really good. I don't know. There's nothing else to say about Carey Price. He's unreal. He waived his no movement clause. His wife is from the Tri-City area in Washington, so Kennewick, Pasco, and Richland, which is not far from Seattle. Carey Price is from British Columbia originally. He hasn't won a cup yet with Montreal. Maybe he'll do it with the Kraken. Carey Price will be the starter and will be the face of the Kraken to start their franchise. I have this guy's going to be like Marc-Andre Fleury.
I also have Carey Price.
You do. You were telling me all day you didn't.
I have Carey.
Of course you do.
I have Carey. Here's the thing. I know he might not say it stat-wise or analytically.
Yep.
But if Carey Price is available, he's just too good to pass up on.
Absolutely.
For any team. Absolutely. I truly, and I get that people are going to say his salary stinks. I get people are going to say he didn't have great regular season numbers.
Yep.
I get all of that.
Well,
but if you can put Carey Price in front of a half-decent team that knows how to manage its assets and can play good defense for 82 games a year, the possibilities are endless. With this guy. Yeah. I love Carey Price. If I had the opportunity to take him, I would.
Especially, we talk about good defense and having a goalie like that. Look, especially if some of the forwards that might get picked in the next couple teams here, if they can start putting pucks in nets, these Kraken might be really good in that Pacific Division.
Did you like the hard sell I was doing all day for Carey Price?
Yeah, this guy, I'm not even joking you. This guy was like, oh, fuck, that's a dumb pick. Don't take Carey Price. There's no way Montreal's going to let Carey Price go with their nothing. Well, here we are. We'll see what happens, though.
If you had Prices available, you have to
you got to take him. There's no way you're not.
I'm sorry, but you have to take Carey Price. Nashville Predators. Your boy Matt Duchene is exposed, as long as Ryan Johansson, Colton Sissons, Rocco Grimaldi, Cal Yancroc, Nick Cousins, and Mark Borowiecki.
It's a lot of players. The Predators had only protected 3 forwards, so they had a boatload of forwards to pick.
Yes, pretty much.
And I'm taking, if I'm Seattle, I'm taking their top center, Ryan Johansson, plucking them right out of there. I'm going to guess this is one of the teams that Nashville's got a side deal with, and I really wouldn't be surprised if they do. I'm sorry, Seattle has a side deal with them. Johansson's going to go here, but I could be wrong. Number 1 center on that team. He's going to be a key pivot on the Kraken, and he's going to be centering some really good wingers, who I will talk about in the next little bit.
I'm going with Rocco Grimaldi, because we stand short kings here on SYP. I think if you had to ask, if you had to point a gun to me and you had to tell me take Duchene or Johansson, I think I'm taking Duchene. But I don't really like a lot. Like, I would probably take Sissons, Grimaldi, Yancroc, Cousins. And I would probably take anybody else outside of Duchene and Johansson. That's just a lot of money for so many years that I would just be so uncomfortable paying.
I guess.
Rocco Grimaldi is plus Rocco. It's a short king.
What's not to like? Fair enough.
You can't lose with Rocco Grimaldi.
I guess not.
New Jersey exposed include PK Subban, Will Butcher, Andreas Johnson, Nicholas Bastian, Evan Cormier, and Scott Wedgwood.
Some good players here.
Yeah.
Especially on the back end.
Do you want me to go first?
You go first. I want to hear your pick.
I got Will Butcher.
So do I, but I have an argument. There is an argument for Subban, though.
There is an argument for Subban, and I think it is a good argument because...
Oh, yeah.
Again, Subban's making a lot of... Like, $9 million for 1 year is a lot.
It's a lot.
However, he can be your face of the franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Really good personality. Seems like a really good locker room guy.
Oh, for sure. And he puts some people in those seats pretty quickly.
Yes, he would make...
And he's a very likable guy, and I think he'd put a jolt into the Seattle franchise pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I like both guys, though.
I think Butcher's the guy just because he's younger, makes less. I don't see him costing as much as Subban ever.
Yep.
And Butcher can be a top 4 guy.
100%.
Subban probably can, but I think
Subban's top 4 as well.
Subban's top 4. I think he's on the decline, though, compared to Butcher, who I still think is on the incline. Sure. New York Islanders. So exposed for the Islanders include Jordan Eberle, Josh Bailey, Leo Komarov, Richard Panik, Thomas Hickey, Andy Green, and Corey Schneider.
Another team with a lot of good players available, and that's, the Islanders are just such a good team, and they're built really well.
Built different.
They're built different. We're both pro Islanders. Ianlanders.
Ianlanders, thank you.
Lost to Tampa Bay, but you know what? They're still a great team.
They're going back to the finals next year.
There you go. It's a hot take. You heard it here first, folks. Ian thinks the Ianlanders are going back. But they're gonna have a hard time with it because Josh Bailey won't be on their team anymore. He will be a Seattle Kraken.
Do you think there's a side deal involved with one of these guys?
There's gotta be. I think the Kraken might get the Islanders' first round pick. They might.
That's totally a loose thing to do. They might give them a first round pick for the take.
Well, think about this: the draft this year isn't that good, especially with the Islanders where they're picking really low.
Yes.
Right, and would you rather have a bona fide second line winger in Josh Bailey, who had a really good year a couple years ago? It wasn't too long ago. He was like top 15 in scoring.
Yes.
Or Eberle, even for that matter, you could say Eberle as well. Who I think that's who you took.
I took Richard Panik.
You did change Panik, okay.
I did go to Panik because I think for how I'm building my roster, I just couldn't justify the cost of Eberle or Bailey. It's a $4 million difference, which in today's world is
can be a lot.
So it can be a lot.
Sure.
So I went with Panik at 1.3 because at 1.3,
it's very respectable.
It's actually like it's better compared to when he was doubling that playing for Washington and Detroit.
That's true. Yeah, so, 1.3 is very respectable.
Yeah.
I have Bailey. The Islanders are a great team, and they're gonna lose a good player, and I think Josh Bailey's the guy they're gonna lose.
And the other thing too, I don't think Ron Francis is gonna take Panik. I think he's probably gonna take Eberle or Bailey.
Yep.
But like you say, I'm interested to see what kind of side deal is on the way.
On the way, I think there's gonna be one out of Long Island for sure.
The Rangers.
Exposed
include Keith Kincaid, Barclay Goodrow, Gauthier, Colin Blackwood, Tony DeAngelo. If you want to go down that route.
It's a dangerous route to go. I think I said Anthony Bitetto.
Bitetto or Bitetto?
Bitetto, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was another one of those picks. Just like, not really anyone on the Rangers house. Too intriguing. Just take a guy. I think Bitetto was that guy. Depth defenseman at best.
This is probably not a smart move, but I went with Goodrow. You have to sign him. Coming off back-to-back cups.
True.
He's probably going to ask for a lot.
He's definitely going to ask for a lot. He's a good player.
I'm at least picking him and seeing if I can sign him and make something happen.
For sure. I will say Barclay Goodrow did score one of the more memorable goals in recent playoff history, the overtime winner against the Golden Knights when he was with the Sharks in 2019.
But I was going to say, you could also tell how I'm trying to build my team a bit with adding a little size in Barclay Goodrow.
Yeah, I see it. I mean, you did take Grimaldi not too long ago, so I'm not sure where your logic is there. But anyways, that's your team. I can't say anything about it. So
building a playoff team is what I'm building.
There you go.
That's the Rangers. Ottawa. I exposed potential players to take include Matt Murray, Evgeny Dadonov, Chris Tierney, Joshua Brown, Joey Decord, Anton Forsberg.
I had Dadonov.
Okay.
I think he's the obvious pick here. He was really great with the Panthers a couple years ago. He was pretty solid with the Sens this year. And I think he'll be solid with the Kraken too.
I went with Dadonov.
You did, yeah.
The only other guy I considered was like Joey Decord as like a cheap, affordable, like third or fourth goalie. Like you put him into the pipeline of goalies.
You know what's funny? You might be right. He might actually go to the... You never know.
I think he's a fun... Like, I would rather have him over Forsberg. I'm not taking Matt Murray.
No, of course not.
And Dadonov, I feel like I can...
You can at least justify.
I could justify.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't go with Eberle or Bailey earlier, because I had to go with Dadonov on Ottawa.
Got it. Okay, interesting.
If I went with Decord in Ottawa, I probably would have then gone with Bailey or Eberle from the Islanders instead of Panik.
Gotcha. Okay, I like it.
Philadelphia. Jakub Voracek is available. JVR is available. Augustus Bear is available. Justin Braun is available. Haig is available.
I have Robert Haig, and there's a lot of good players on Philadelphia here.
All right.
But I was really thinking about taking one of Voracek or JVR, but purely on cost, and on another winger that the Kraken will take in a couple picks here. Robert Haig's a solid, mid top 4, top 6 defenseman. He'll play some big minutes for the Kraken, and I don't know. I've always liked his game.
I have JVR.
You do, okay.
Tied for leading scorer on Philadelphia.
That's something to say.
$7 million. Fair bit.
It's a fair bit, but he's a good player. No doubt about it.
He does well in Philadelphia. He did fine in Toronto, but he seems to do well when he's with the Flyers. So maybe there's something to be said with reuniting him with his former coach, Dave Haxtell.
That's a good point.
Who knows?
Pittsburgh.
Jason Zucker's available. Brandon Tanev's available. Zach Aston Reese is available. Sam Lafferty. Marcus Pedersen. Yep. Casey DeSmith.
Brandon Tanev. He always seems to make teams better. For whatever reason, he always just seems to do the right things, and he's just a good, solid bottom 6 forward, and he kills penalties. He scored some nice goals. He scored some really nice goals as a bottom 6 forward. He's kind of like... If I had to choose like middle 6 or bottom 6 forwards, I think Tyler Mott is by far the GOAT of the bottom 6 forwards. And then I'd have Brandon Tanev up there as well.
I didn't take Tanev because I shat on Pittsburgh when I signed him because I was like, that's a terrible deal. I wouldn't do that deal. Why would you give that to Brandon Tanev? So I feel like I can't pick Tanev because I shat on that contract.
Fair.
So I went with Zach Aston Reese.
Okay.
I like him as a bottom six forward.
Okay.
I feel like he can bring a little physicality, a little toughness, cheaper than Tanev, and I still have to sign him, but I can still sign him cheaper than what I would sign Brandon Tanev. And I think he could bring the same as Tanev can.
Interesting.
That's my pick from Pittsburgh. San Jose, not a lot to pick from the Sharks here. Patrick Marleau is available from the Sharks. Ryan Donato is available. Marcus Sorensen, Dylan Gambrell, Matt Nieto, Radim Simic, Martin Jones.
I said Matt Nieto.
I also went with Nieto.
Yep.
There's not a lot to go with here from the Sharks.
There's not.
They really suck, even with all the guys they had to take.
Yep. They are the worst team in California.
Yeah, they are.
I can comfortably say that.
I am not afraid to say that either. This team blows. St. Louis.
Ha!
This is a fun team, and you are going to love my pick.
You're also going to love my pick, too.
Potentially exposed include Vladimir Tarasenko, Sammy Blais, Kyle Clifford, McShernan, I don't know how to say his last name. He's got a big last name. Marco Scandella, Robert Bertuzzo, Ville Husso.
And Vince Dunn are also exposed.
And Vince Dunn. I should have put that down.
Yeah, the Blues have some assets. Let me tell you.
Should I tell you who should go first?
I think Ian should go first.
I have a side deal.
Oh, you do? Okay. So this is your one guaranteed side deal.
I have a side deal.
And what is your side deal?
Seattle takes Kyle Clifford.
Okay.
So that they don't take Tarasenko or like any of those other guys.
But what are the Blues going to give up as well?
I don't know. Again, I can't predict. Like probably a second round pick at least, because that's what the going rate is. It might even be a first round pick because that's what the going rate is to keep these guys or to get one of these guys back, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't. Here's the thing. I just don't see St. Louis. I can't see them giving away Tarasenko for nothing right now.
You know, and I do, and here's why. I'm gonna argue.
We had this argument earlier.
We did. We've talked about this a lot, and Ian was saying to me, "There's no way Tarasenko's going to the Kraken," and I'm gonna tell you why. I've heard some rumblings that he wasn't too thrilled in St. Louis.
No, he isn't. He's not happy.
He's not thrilled, and I think that might factor in. And I think St. Louis tried to do some sort of deal, but because they were in a playoff position, they couldn't really pull it off. And they couldn't, justify giving up the assets to, if they were in a playoff enough position, and they made the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So, with that in mind, Tarasenko goes to the Kraken. I think he'll be their leading scorer.
It's gonna be so interesting to see if St. Louis if this is how they because I think that's really bad asset management.
So do I, but it might happen.
It might happen. That's why I have Clifford, because I also think Clifford is like your fourth line, can add some physicality.
True, he can
be a depth guy.
Yep.
But that's the guy they want to take instead of Tarasenko. That's why you get a first round pick.
It might even be Vince Dunn.
It might be Vince Dunn.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Tampa Bay. Who do you have from the Lightning?
It could be a bunch of guys.
Yeah. Do you want me to say who's potentially available first, or should you just?
I'm gonna say Yanni Gord, but there's a whole whack of guys that could be. Palat, could be Killorn, could be what's the other
guy? So Palat, Gord, Tyler Johnson, Killorn.
Was Coleman available too?
Coleman's a free agent, I believe.
Oh, he's free agent. Okay, but still available.
Pat Maroon, Matthew Joseph, Jan Rudolph.
Wow. A lot of guys available. I think Tampa, they projected 4 forwards, 4 defensemen.
They went 4-4.
And they went 4-4. So, I have Gord. I think he's the best player of those 4 guys.
Sure.
The best player that can go in other systems. Palat's so good with Point and Kucherov.
Yeah.
Killorn's so good with Stammer and Cirelli. And Gord now Goodrow has gone to New York. Coleman's going to be there still. I think they're going to re-sign Coleman. But Goodrow is going to be gone.
I think there's an argument.
Gord's going to be gone to the Kraken.
There's an argument that Gord is the most versatile forward out of all these guys available.
Of the guys available, yeah, I'd say Cirelli is. But yeah. Of the guys
available, I think it's Gord.
I agree with that.
I have Killorn going.
Tampa Bay's not going to get rid of Killorn.
But that's just it. Like,
fan favorite.
I know, but that's just it. Like, there's like a lot of guys. Like, there has to be a deal.
Got to be one. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I mean, I think you can even make the argument that Pat Maroon.
Three cups in a row.
3 cups in a row. There's an argument to be made that Pat Maroon is kind of the guy you take here too, depending on how you want to build your team. If you wanted to spend your money elsewhere in the expansion draft.
True. Pat Maroon also would be a great veteran piece and give some, really some intangibles, especially because a lot of these expansion drafts, they tend to focus on young players, and
yes,
sometimes you need a couple guys that are older to provide some leadership.
Just
yeah.
I don't think there's a bad pick with Tampa Bay.
There's not.
I think the worst pick I think is maybe Johnson. I
would agree with that.
At his salary, but other than that, I think.
Yep.
Really good if you're Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Toronto Maple Leafs.
Alex Kerfoot.
Alex Kerfoot's your pick?
Yep.
He's available along with Jared McCann as of right now, Wayne Simmons, Spezza, Pierre Engvall, Joey Anderson, Travis Dermott, Michael Hutchinson.
Sponge.
Pretty much. So we've talked about this before. I think there is a side deal here happening with the Leafs. I can't imagine that they're gonna let the move is to make a side deal so that Seattle takes Kerfoot.
Yep.
And then McCann can be
he'll be the new third line center in
the
Toronto.
new Kerfoot.
Yep, pretty much.
I do have Dermott though as another defenseman on my team who I would pick.
Yep.
I like Travis Dermott. He's 24. He was better in a lesser role, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing when it comes to Seattle and you're building a new team, but that is something I noticed throughout most of the season.
It's a consideration for sure.
Vancouver. Exposure Vancouver include Braden Holtby, Jake Virtanen, Louis Eriksson, Jay Beagle, Cole Lynn, Zach McEwen, Madison Bowie. You have Bowie.
I have Bowie, yeah. Yep. We talked about this before we got on the ferry here. Yeah, kind of, he's a good to be solid.
There's not a lot from Vancouver, because you're not taking Virtanen, Eriksson, Beagle.
Well, I will say one thing about the Canucks here, and if Price doesn't go from, if like Paul Byron or Drouin go from Montreal to Seattle, I think the Canucks might be losing Holtby.
I don't think so.
That's your opinion.
Yeah, no, I don't think. We've talked about that before. I don't see it happening, but there is a world in which that happens.
It could happen. Yep, for sure.
There is also a chance, depending on how crazy Benning gets, where it's like, no, I love Cole Lynn. You can't, or Zach McEwen. I love both of those guys. We will give up assets for you to take Beagle.
Yeah.
Or Louis Eriksson. I think there's a world in which that exists.
Oh, yeah.
Washington. Did I say who from Vancouver? I'm taking Cole Lynn is my pick.
You said Cole Lynn, yeah.
Okay, Cole Lynn is my pick from Vancouver. Former Kelowna Rocket Cole Lynn. From Washington, potentially exposed, Alex Ovechkin, Carl Hagelin, Garnet Hathaway, Nick Dowd, Schultz, Brendan Dillon, company, Vitek Vanacek. Vanacek, is that how?
Vanacek, yeah.
Vanacek.
Vitek Vanacek.
Vitek Vanacek.
There you go. I said Brendan Dillon.
Yeah.
And that's purely a depth defenseman move.
That was actually a good signing for Washington.
I think it was too.
Yeah.
I see a world where Schultz goes, and I think he's another good right shot puck mover that could go behind Stetcher. Or, again, if Subban's there, then I think it'll be Dillon for sure. Okay. But, again, we'll have to see how other teams kind of do it and who the Kraken really want. And I think Dillon's the guy. In my expansion draft, Ian, you had...
Vanacek.
You had Vanacek, yeah.
He is my third goalie that I have Seattle taking.
Okay.
Is Vanacek. Washington, they actually have, I'd be intrigued to take Hagelin or Hathaway or Dowd.
Hathaway's a good piece. Yeah, I like his game.
I liked him in Calgary, and he's transferred it pretty well to Washington.
I think he's even better in Washington.
Finally, we'll get this over with here. Winnipeg, the Jets, potentially exposing Winnipeg. Appleton, Harkins, Dylan DeMello, Nathan Beaulieu, Eric Comrie.
Some good players there.
Decent players.
Yeah.
My pick is Dylan DeMello.
I said Appleton.
Okay,
but
Mason Appleton is.
But I think those are based on kind of needs. You need a defenseman. I need a forward. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And again, DeMello is at 4 point something. He's a little bit more than Appleton. Like Appleton's a very affordable bottom.
Oh yeah, middle. I'd say middle 6 for Appleton. He's got some skill with him too. He'll be middle 6.
So that concludes our Seattle Kraken mock expansion draft. Yeah. Maybe if I'm motivated enough, I'll make a graphic before Wednesday to post about our teams. Basically, my projected cap hit was a little over $62 million, so I have a cap space of about $19.425 million.
That's a lot.
And that's still having to re-sign, like Drieger, a couple guys. You have Shillington, I think Bean. Yeah, that's
there you go.
That's our Seattle Kraken mock expansion draft.
I like it. Good stuff. We're on a boat. We're on a boat. It's funny. We're talking about Kraken and we're on a boat. We should be careful.
We're on a boat. Any other final thoughts on Seattle, the expansion draft? I don't know if we might chat before the draft on Wednesday.
We might. I'll be on the couch, kind of vaccinated, dealing with potential side effects. Knock on wood. Hopefully there's none. Of my second dose of vaccine. So.
What are you supposed to get as your second dose?
It's gonna be Pfizer or Moderna for sure. It'll be a.
Well, yeah, but what did you? Don't they try and give you like the second one or whatever you got the first time?
Well, they try to. They don't guarantee it though. You can't guarantee it. But it'll be for me. It'll be Pfizer or Moderna. I got Moderna the first time, so it'll be Pfizer or Moderna for sure. Yeah.
I'm getting my vaccine on Thursday, and I'm hoping it's Pfizer.
There you go.
That's the podcast. Any other final thoughts before? Because this is coming out on Monday. Any other final thoughts?
Monday. No. I'm very much looking forward to this. I think the last expansion draft, I was working or I was just.
I don't remember the last expansion draft.
Neither do I. But so this, I'm really looking forward to this one, and I think I'll be able to watch it. So.
I think the last one happened during the NHL awards or something stupid like that, where they merged the two.
It was weird. I think we might have had something going on that day. It might have been like a grad event or I don't know. It was 2017. It wasn't grad. Yeah. Anyways, there was some sort of event going on that we just couldn't make it that day. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this draft. It should be good.
It's gonna be a really good week of podcasting and content. Again, we talk about the Olympic preview that we have coming out this week. You should take a look at that.
That's gonna be funny. You guys are gonna enjoy that.
That was really insightful, and a lot of work was put into that podcast. So be sure to check it out. Be sure to like this video on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel for a bunch more of YouTube content like this. Be sure to check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, where I like to listen to a lot of my podcasts on Apple Podcasts. So be sure to check us out there. Thank you very much for listening or watching. It's greatly appreciated. We'll be back again sometime this week. Be sure to tune in then. Thank you very much for listening, watching. Peace out.